So we all have a part of our soul that lives on the other side that's directly connected to the divine. It's called the higher self. And I go into the higher self in detail in a couple other videos, which I will include links to below this one. But the higher self resides within the collective consciousness. It is your inner angel. And this is the part of your soul that lives in the light. So I thought it was important for you guys to know what it's like to live inside the light, and really what it's like to channel that divine source of love energy and the collective consciousness within which your higher self resides, and to talk about what makes the collective consciousness so collective. How are they so incredibly connected to each other? And so the first one is truth. These guys are all on the same page. They agree with each other. They're in agreement. They are all-knowing beings. So the knowledge is shared and agreed upon. So there's no like disagreeing with each other. Like, no, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. The truth is not up for debate on the other side. God is the truth. God is the light. So when you live in that God energy, you are the light. You become part of truth. You become part of light. You're not arguing with each other. You're not debating truth. You know what it is. And so that inner knowing feels like a complacency, like a mellow, calm complacency, as a bunch of people who are all fired up and disagreeing with each other. And a good example of this would be a Bernie Sanders rally. What if you had a bunch of Bernie Sanders fans all getting together, like supporting Bernie and listening to him talk and saying, yeah, yeah, yeah. If you look to your left and look to your right, are you going to feel connected to these people? Heck yeah. You got common goals, common passions, common values. You're pursuing the same thing. You're agreeing about everything. Bernie is everybody's highest good. So the things that he's like channeling are also truth most of the time. So you're going to have everybody aligned with Bernie. So they're putting their trust and faith in Bernie, and they're aligning themselves with truth and each other. So what's going to happen? Their wall is going to come down, right? They're going to like trust each other like, hey, yeah, we got this in common, huh? We're on the same page. God, I feel close to you. I feel this bond. I feel this bond with you. So their walls come down and then they bond with each other. So I thought that was kind of a good example of the collective consciousness on Earth is people getting together for a common goal and a common good. Okay. Also, they have angels buzzing around them because they are aligned with the truth. So law of attraction, they attract positive energy to themselves. And it's just one big, fantastic love fest of truth. So that's another thing that I wanted to mention is trust. They trust in truth. They're part of the divine. So they trust the divine. They trust the truth. It just is. So they put their faith and trust in that truth because it's an absolute. So like I said, that's why they feel so connected. And it doesn't change, it doesn't change. Like they picture me as somebody that just puts stake in the ground, like with each truth, I'm just putting like stakes in the ground and walking forward. And people have free will, whether or not they want to follow that path of stakes. Because those stakes in the ground aren't going to move. The truth just is. It's not going to shift. But people have free will as to whether or not they want to align themselves with that path and follow it, or to veer off and do their own thing. They have free will. They can do whatever they want. They have choice. So in the earth plane, the truth is debatable. On the other side, it's not. There's a calm complacency that goes with it and connects them and keeps them together. Now, the trust has to do with God and the collective, trusting in the divine because you are actually part of the divine. So there really is no separation, and it's literally like pay-per-view where it's like one big cloud and I have to call your soul forward. So it's like your soul is part of this group and I say, hey, Jody, can you come here? And then she steps forward and then separates herself out. So Jody's part of the whole, but then she's also still Jody. So it's not like when you cross over, you just all of a sudden get absorbed into this blob and that's the end of you. You still have thoughts, you still have emotions, you still have your personality, but you live in the light. So one of the ways that we can attract our loved ones to one another, attract our loved ones to ourselves, is by casting love and light at their soul. They can sense when we're casting love and light at them. They can sense when we're thinking about them. Why? Because we're all telepathically and emotionally connected in the collective consciousness. So in order to bring up that pay-per-view, all you have to do is think about the person, and then they show up. So that's how connected we are. But yes, on the other side, all telepathically connected, all emotionally connected, our higher selves are. And another thing is that there is no ego on the other side. Ego causes a lot of problems. It's considered a lower energy. And Donald Trump is a good example of someone who's pursuing their ego right now, because he pursued the presidency for, money, power, title, recognition, going down in history, etc. And his ego wanted it, but his higher self actually didn't, so he's considered off path right now. So the other side actually had me make a video for him, channeling his higher self to his lower self and saying, it's okay to step down, after he was inaugurated. It's like, it's okay to step down. It's all right to step down. You're off path. It's okay to go back to your old life. And so people thought it was ridiculous for making that video, but later they won't think that video is so ridiculous because he could have saved himself a lot of BS if he actually had made a U-turn. So that would have been Donald Trump walking away from his ego and making a pure decision based in self-love. And the other side would have helped him go back to his old life. They would have helped him with that truth and that embarrassment of going back to his old life. Too late now. So another thing about not having an ego, another example is, are you in love with a coworker? Well, the light's going to expect you to tell her. If you're in love with her, tell her it's your truth. What's the big deal? Open that throat chakra and speak your truth. Tell her, I love you. I love you. I'm in love with you. I've fallen in love with you. That's how I feel about you. The other side doesn't make any bones about it. They don't mince words. They share their emotions. They share their thoughts openly. There's no ego involved. Now, what are we going to think? We're not going to tell our coworker that we're in love with them? What if they blow us off? We got to see them every day. How embarrassing is that? Then the other coworkers are going to find out and start making fun of us, right? Hell no! Well, that's our ego. The other side doesn't mince words. They do things like that. I love you. Feels very angelic and very innocent, very childlike. A child is kind of like that. We're the ones with inhibitions. Self-protective, ego, embarrassed. Yeah, so the ego, there's no ego. So thoughts and emotions flow freely. What's your problem? What's your truth? What you're thinking is your truth. What you're feeling is your truth. Speak it, express yourself. So, yeah, that coworker, they would want you to share your feelings and just deal with it. And so, yeah, so that was another thing, is just with regards to your thoughts, you don't lose your personality. Like when you cross over, your lower self rejoins your higher self. So you don't lose your personality. It's still there. If anything, you just lose the crappy parts of yourself and all the good ones remain. Now, another thing the other side doesn't care about is logistics. And I brought this up in another video where I was talking about, do you have an inconvenient truth? If your invitations have already gone out for your wedding to your fiance and the flowers are already paid for and you decide you really don't want to marry this person, well, that's your truth. So the other side is going to say, okay, embrace your truth. This is an act of self-love. We're going to help you. We're going to help you with the invites. We're going to help, let people know. We're going to help you with the flowers. Like, we're going to help you embrace this truth because that's what we're for, because we're the light. But the logistics of doing that are such that your logical mind would say it's too late. It's too late. I got to move forward with this wedding. I've gotten myself so in deep. I have no choice but to move forward. And the light is going to say, oh, yes, you do. You still have a choice. You're not married yet. They don't care about logistics. All they care about is truth. And Another thing is, just aside from that, with logistics and ego and just being rational, just being reasonable and rational and using your logical mind, is it reasonable and rational for me to walk around saying, hey everyone, I'm an ascended master, I'm the absolute? I mean, my YouTube channel is one big acid trip, so it's channeled from them, because truth is truth, so they don't care how I look. They don't care how I look. What's the problem, Christine? Speak for us. Speak for us. Do your job, Christine. This is the truth. And logistics are dismissed on the other side. Logistics are not dismissed on this side. They are a major, major concern for us, because we got to be reasonable, got to be logical. We make assumptions about things. We have limited beliefs. We have energetic blocks. Nah, I'm not going to apply for that job. I'm not going to like it. And then the light is like, you would love it. Apply. You would love the job. Don't be negative Nelly. So you're, inside the light, it's like positive optimism, positive thinking. They're all-knowing angelic beings. They don't cater to ego. They have, a just do it kind of attitude. And one of the reasons why they feel so connected to each other and so together and just calm and complacent is because of what I just described. But there's another part to it. They feel really strong and very, very powerful and very, very courageous, and just basically like a force to be reckoned with. And the reason for this, drum roll please, no fear. Fear is the dark. No fear. So for those of you who've been watching my YouTube videos for a long time that kind of sit there like amused by me and think, wow, she's kind of brave. Thank you for that. Thank you for thinking that. They're brave. No fear. They're forceful. They're strong. They're powerful. They have no inhibitions. It's all about pursuit of unabashed truth no matter what. No matter what. So I know as long as I'm pursuing truth, I'm going to be okay, because I have them on my side, and that's what they want me to do. So as long as I'm following their instruction, I know I'm okay. You know when I end up having problems? When I don't follow their instruction. When I blow them off. That's when I have problems. People think they're being punished by God. You're not being punished by God. You're not aligned with truth. You let go of his hand. So you attract negative energy and darkness to yourself. So it's what you did to yourself. It's not God punishing you. It's you attracting that to yourself with your decision. You align yourself with truth. Sometimes it requires throwing out logistics, throwing out your ego, being brave. It's what it entails. No fear. Fear is the dark. Get away from fear. Acts of self-love. And, another thing is sometimes if you're not speaking your truth, you end up attracting negative energy to your throat chakra because they consider it closed. So you might end up getting, physical symptoms in your throat. Got to open up that throat chakra and speak your truth and be honest and authentic with who you really are. But I gotta tell you, this is what they care about. They are the truth. They are the light. They are love. The opposite of fear is love. So this is what they care about, and this is how they are, and that's how they feel. And I want you guys to develop your intuition, and I want you guys to tune into your higher self and pay close attention to your higher self. How are they different from you? How do they feel? Because they live in the light. So you're going to be able to feel the difference when you communicate with your higher self, and that's what I want for you guys. I want you guys to have your own personal experiences with the collective consciousness, because you're going to feel it. You're going to feel these angelic beings living in the light, all on the same page, closely connected. And it's going to feel really, really good to you. And you're going to realize that, your deceased loved ones are taken care of because they're hanging out in the light with your higher self. The only difference between you and your deceased loved ones is that you have a mortal body and they don't. Their lower self, when they passed, rejoined their higher self, and their higher self is hanging out with your higher self. So your deceased loved ones have a part of your soul all to themselves. See how that works? It's meant to make you feel better. Anyway, so I just wanted to address this topic so you guys knew what made the collective consciousness collected, and they are all on the same page. Now, if we can get on the same page with each other and align ourselves with truth, we'll be just fine. And in the meantime, take care and be well. Thank you.